This is actually ridiculous. That's not even 600 mil. So if we don't get this image this evening, I have to wait a long time. Could even be a whole year.
Change for Circle and District Line services via High Street Kensington. Mind the gap.
Hey, how's it going everyone? Welcome back to London. It is a gloriously bright day. Summertime in London, probably my favourite time. As I mentioned last year, or rather my discovery last year, I'm a solar panel. The sun energizes me, definitely. I've been looking through my whole collection of images lately, as I've been building up the print store and finding the images I want to print large and all sorts of different collections. And I've discovered, you probably already know this, but I've discovered a particular trait in my images that I think is kind of signature to what I'm drawn to and my style of things. And that is big urban vantage viewpoints. And yeah, I've realized that I don't actually have any of London. Lived here for like 12, 14 years or so, and yeah, struggle to get that.
Go to the Ready Money drinking fountain and go that way.
Does it do beer?
No.
So you see, the thing about London is there's a lot of red tape. There are so many places that you could take images in London. You could get good skyline shots, but they are all private property. Places along the river, places like King's Cross, near Tower Bridge, even just tall buildings and other places. Privately owned, and a lot of the time they don't like big cameras. And so you'll either get penalized for bringing a camera in, you won't be allowed to bring it in, or if you do and you get images, you definitely won't be allowed to sell them as prints and other commercial purposes. So it's kind of annoying, and it's one of the biggest things that annoys me about London, and especially filming and whatever. And so I have to resort to going to free vantage points and elevated views. And the trouble is, London's pretty flat. There's only a few sort of viewpoints and hills and stuff around London, and they're quite far from the skyline. Who's this celebrity? So we are on our way to one of my favourite viewpoints in London, and that's Primrose Hill, just north of Regent's Park. And I'm not sure the distance to the skyline, so like square mile, that sort of area, and Canary Wharf and whatever, but it is pretty far. And so most lenses aren't going to do a good job of it. So Fujifilm have lent me a couple of things. The X-H2S, first of all, but also this guy. This is the 150 to 600 f5.6 to 8, and this is going to be the key to getting those long vantage points of the skyline. But for now, let's get some broadcast stuff. This is actually ridiculous.
Is it?
Yeah. That's not even 600 mil. That was like 500 or 450 or something.
Well, later will be fun then.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's only a little lens really, it's not that big.
I do remember.
You don't remember in Toy Story? Kids coming through, and I think it's Slink says,
"Wait, there's a nice little one over there."
So now I've got this paired with the X-H2S. I'm going to use this as a day to just sort of like test it out and stuff. So I'm not really going to run through any thoughts about this, because I like to use things over a number of days to like build up some body of thought and whatever. But mainly just playing around with the big boy. Although I will say, I am enjoying the X-H2S so far. It's got a nice shutter. It's very, very soft. Oh, I dropped it. Making our way up to Primrose Hill now. I've brought with me the monopod, because obviously this is a pretty big lens. But what's really nice is the tripod foot at the bottom has an Arca Swiss, so it will slot nicely straight in, get some stable shots. And that will definitely help when it gets to like f8 on the aperture. You'll see the skyline in a minute, I promise. It's very good. It's right there.
Just gotta climb it first.
Yep. So where we're heading is around there. and up that little hill. Looks very small. So the trouble we have everywhere is just trees. As nice as they are, you can't see the skyline. So yeah, even though that's a tiny little hill, it's just enough to get you up over those. Good views create queues. Other people also wanting to enjoy the sunset because it's a great spot. There's a view.
Yeah, loads of people have picnics here.
Ah, cute.
What part are you going to cover for the tripod?
Well, I was just testing different length of it. I think the main cluster of Square Mile, which is where the Gherkin is and a few other buildings, that's kind of like signature London. Then there's the Shard that sort of stands out on its own. London Eye and the BT Tower, they're connected. Canary Wharf also sort of lines up with Square Mile. So yeah, a few different options. I'm hoping, and this really fits in with my signature style, I'm hoping that as the sun sets, which is going to be in that direction, we're going to get the alpenglow, which will be the pinky, purpley hues sort of glowing behind. There's no clouds, which sometimes is a bit boring for sunset, but in this situation, I think we're going to get a really nice gradient. That's what I'm hoping for. So we're in the middle of August right now, and this is actually one of the last days in a run of good weather forecasts. In fact, I think from maybe tomorrow onwards, it might start raining, and who knows, that could be summer over, in which case clear blue skies with long daylight hours are ending. And so if we don't get this image this evening, then we might have to wait a long time, could even be a whole year. So yeah, really hoping for that pinky purple sky. Can't always predict it, but I've shot it enough. I think some of my most memorable images, places like Seattle and Kuala Lumpur, and other images where I've got that pinky sky, and I just really love the tones of it. Ellie, what have you just discovered?
It's the supermoon tonight as well. At 8:55 p.m. the supermoon will rise.
From what direction?
Southeast.
Which is over there. Supermoon. Super. I found that the wind is actually pulling on the lens hood quite a bit, and it's making it all quite shaky, because obviously this is a big sort of flag for the wind. And yeah, gotta take it off.
Here it goes.
Stick it in there. Well, it's locked up. This does happen when switching between photo and video on every Fuji I've used. Kind of one of the reasons why I don't do it so much. The light on the Shard right now is spot on. It's like it's still bright enough that everyone's got, you know, enough light in the office. They haven't turned the lights on, but it's dark enough here to make it shine. The sky has done exactly what I wanted it to do. We've got the pink happening. I'm very happy. Earlier on, I was a little bit unsure because the buildings were coming out really contrasty and kind of glowing. But if you wait just that little bit longer, it really softens up, and yeah, got the views that I wanted. I think my favourite view is actually the BT Tower and the London Eye. It's just kind of clean. It's very simple. Or the Shard on its own. I think just that simplicity is working. I've also gone in tight on Canary Wharf and other areas. That's kind of interesting to see the detail, but in terms of making it as a photo, I think the simple views, the individual buildings, are the ones that work. I was going to say we've made a friend. Do you want to say hi?
Subscribe to Joe Allam YouTube channel video. Don't forget.
Love it when people just have a bit of curiosity about cameras and just ask a few things. Did you catch that guy's name?
No.
No.
He's in a video for 2 days.
Oh really?
He was visiting his sister. He's from Jakarta.
Yeah. Jakarta, Indonesia. I really, really want to go. I just feel like urban vibes, good coffee, everything.
They got a front row seat.
Oh, nice. So the sun has pretty much set now, and because it was so clear, it's lasting a lot longer, which is really nice. I love it when it's like this, and it's nice and still as well. So it's, it's really calm, but it's kind of transforming into a bit of a show because everyone's here for the supermoon, which is such a funny coincidence that obviously oblivious us, not aware of it, and we just happen to come out today with the big lens. So now we're going to wait until it's dark and see if we can see the supermoon. That'd be cool. The moon came out almost instantaneously, like a light bulb. And what's really interesting with this, so one of the benefits of shooting with such a long lens is that when you look at the sort of parallax effect of where we are to the subject, which is the shard, and then to the moon, which is I don't know how many thousand miles away, that distance gets compressed. And so what happens is the greater object ends up even bigger. So with it being supermoon, supermoon plus.
Oh yeah, now that's very impressive, isn't it?
Yeah, a little bit wider where you've got the whole,
Oh, that's amazing.
whole building.
Yes, oh that is.
Do you have a card?
Postcard, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we have a card.
Yeah.
Thank you.
There we go. If you just search the name Joe Allam. That is Kuala Lumpur in Malaysia, yeah. Do you know what? I absolutely cannot believe the luck that we've had. And what's so funny about this is we just came out for a casual day getting some long shots of the skyline, and the bloody supermoon comes out. This is the type of thing that we're just not in the know for, and probably should be, to be honest. So what's funny about our luck is we almost went to Greenwich Park, which is in the southeast of London, to view towards like the sun and the skyline that way. If we'd have done that, the moon would have been way over to the right of everything and wouldn't have really had that vantage point. And yet we somehow ended up deciding to come to Primrose Hill because I was looking for the alpenglow, and we got the moon as well. Funnily enough though, when we discovered that the moon was happening, I looked at the map and I saw where the moon was rising and where the sun was setting and everything. I actually thought it was going to be way over to the left. So that shows that I can't even read a map. And yeah, don't really know how the moon rising maps work. Maybe it's the point of altitude on it and it kind of came around, I don't know, but it just didn't quite fit where I was expecting. But I'm so glad, and I can't believe it ended up pretty much bang on the center of the shard. If I was being picky, I'd want it a little bit higher, but that's being picky. So using the lens was a lot of fun to have that reach. I've never used a lens that long before. The longest I've ever used is 200mm on APS-C and 200mm on full frame. Using 600mm on APS-C is the equivalent field of view of something like 900 on a full frame sensor. That's pretty long, it's pretty far, and it reaches far. Unfortunately, with the aperture being at f8 at that length, it did mean that my shutter speed kind of had to go a bit uncomfortably slow. I was shooting 1/60th at a few points, which with the monopod that helps. I was really testing out the stabilization of the sensor and the lens. Ideally though, you should really be at 1/600th or so for sharp imagery, or have a super sturdy tripod. If I'd have known about the supermoon in advance, definitely would have brought the solid tripod rather than traveling light with the monopod. But either way, I think think I've managed to get some shots that I'm very happy with, that are sharp and I can clean up. So anyway, I think that's everything today. I hope you've enjoyed the journey, and we'll catch you in another video super soon. See you later. Bye bye. Super soon, super moon.